Recording. Awesome. Well, great evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Johnson. I'm going to be your host this evening. I am out of the Apopka, Florida market, and I'm so excited for you all to meet our presenter this evening. Now, his name is Rodney K. Lamb, and he's a certified tax resolution specialist. Now, he's going to tell you all about that as he gets into his presentation, but a little more about him. He's an owner and CEO of his tax firm. He has well over 20 plus years of tax experience in this industry. He's been voted the top tax firm in Dallas, Texas by Dallas.com. He's currently the number one reviewed tax professional in all of the United States by PTIN.org. The number one, you guys. Now, he's been voted best tax service by Expertise, and he currently holds an A plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, and he's held that for well over 10 years. And can I tell you, he's had zero financial complaints. Now, I am one of Mr. Lamb's clients. I met this gentleman maybe 2 or 3 years ago when he told me that I could amend my taxes off of the business and travel that I had. I had no idea that I was able to do that. And can I tell you, my tax refund went from 5,000 to well over 10,000 just from an amendment. And now I pay 40% of my income out in taxes, but because of the tax strategies that he's shown me in this opportunity, those 5 figures that I pay out, I get those back at the end of the year. So you definitely want to take in everything that he's saying and for sure reach out to him. So, Mr. Lamb, are you on the line?
Dr. Johnson, I would not miss it for anything in the world. How you doing this evening?
I'm excited. I'm excited for the information you're about to share with the people tonight, and I'm glad you're here. So, thank you so much.
Definitely, definitely. Great introduction. I just want to say this is a special evening. I'm so happy this evening. So we're gonna make it a special presentation, Dr. Johnson.
Let's do it.
Good deal. I want to just say first and foremost, thank you to Director Michael Broner for just making everything possible, y'all, and the entire team. Dr. Johnson for the great introduction and the big role that she plays to make this happen. I definitely want to say thank you to Planet Marketing and IntelliTravel. And we got to give a big salute to every rep who chose to plug in tonight and grow their travel business because the information that I'm going to share is definitely going to grow your travel business. And I get a double big salute to every guest who got on tonight. Those who just looking for the first time, or those who are just on the fence and want to know more information. And sometimes you just need to just see just that extra information and just those extra facts to make a decision. And so I'm proud to be able to provide some extra information to give you some extra information to help you make a decision. And so I just want to say welcome to everybody. I just want to say you in the correct place tonight because my theme tonight is to just to share with everybody to dream again. So many people don't understand that it's time to dream again, especially it's the perfect time in society. Because many times that I do this presentation, I rarely share my testimony. And that's what I wanted to do tonight. I wanted to share my testimony with so many travel agents who plugging in tonight. Because like you, 17 years ago, I made the decision to join a multi-level marketing company as well in the realm and industry of travel. But what many of you may have not known is that travel was my business before Truth Induced. And so travel opened the doors for Truth Induced. It was a travel investment, just like you're watching this evening, just like you're involved in, that allowed me to open my dream of a financial firm and allowed me to share the information that I'm sharing with you this evening. And so that's my thing for everybody watching this information this evening. Dream again. And don't just dream a little, dream big because it was a dream of travel that opened the doors for my investment into the financial firm. And that's what I always wanted to do. And you're going to see the passion pour over into what travel has allowed me to do for the people. And I always want to say a big salute to all of my clients. I see my many of my clients on this call this evening. And so I just want to say a big salute to you. Without you, there would be no Rodney. And so I appreciate my clients who are on this call. And I'm fortunate to know they know there are some people on this line that know that this information that I'm sharing with you is true. And thank you, Dr. Johnson, for sharing your testimony. It's very few people who earn six figures and receive a five-figure tax refund. And so no one special. It's strategy that made that happen. And so we're just proud to make sure that you have the strategy. We can easily see that we're going to go over 300 this evening on a Wednesday. And so that's special, everybody. And so I've planned something and prepared something special for you this evening. And so with that, I want to just share with everybody who decided to spend time with me this evening. I implore you to take notes this evening. You will receive some knowledge, and knowledge is applied information. This information that I'm sharing with you has already been applied. So it's instantly going to make you successful. And I put a few extra slides in here for the end of the year. You see, it's the holiday season. So we definitely want to make sure we're in the festive spirit. And I just want to say to everybody watching this, you're welcome in advance because I definitely want to make sure that I share with you ways for you. And so what I want to do is make sure that everybody understand that when you look at this information, it's going to be facts. It may be unknown to you at this time, but it will be understood that this is law. This is not my opinion. And I love giving this information. So as we go through this, I want to share with you a disclaimer. Truth Induced is not associated with any company, nor was Truth Induced endorsed, paid, or compensated any financial income to share the factual information within this presentation by another financial company. Truth Induced does not guarantee any strategy shown in this presentation, nor does Truth Induced participate in the advice through presentation with the intent to entice, persuade, or manipulate any individual towards a decision. And I have an extra disclaimer that I love to share because I want everyone in attendance to understand this is not a tax loop, a tax shelter, or a tax scheme. The information shared in this presentation are tax law and tax code that are legally allowable to business owners with proper documentation. And I stress the proper documentation. But I always like to ask this question to kind of bring all of us into the frame of mind that I'd like us to be in for this presentation. And that question, I want you to think about this rhetorically. What's the difference between the rich, the poor, and the middle class? And I really want you to think about that. Why is the poor poor? Why is the middle in the middle? And why is the rich rich? Now, if we were in person, I would pick on someone. But for this Zoom, I want to share with you my opinion. You know what the poor do? They just buy stuff. And they buy stuff and they buy stuff. But nothing never comes in. But yet and still they can buy stuff. And I want you to understand this is what the poor does. And what the middle class does is purchase liabilities and assume that they're assets. The new house, the new car, but no one told you that they're building a mountain of debt in the background. And so what do the rich do? They purchase assets, ladies and gentlemen. But what I really want you to do is Google the word assets for me. And what I want you to do when you see that, there is a list. But what I really want you to do is look on that list and see how many things you own on that list. Because this is what the rich do. They purchase assets. And this is what I'm encouraging everybody to do, to be rich thinking. You see, rich is not an individual or a color, it's a state of mind. And so, what the rich think and what they do is they purchase things that's going to create a passive income that will eventually create a cash flow of residual income. This is what the rich buy, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to think about the last thing you bought. Did it create a passive income that turned into a cash flow of residual income? Now, I think it was Robert Kiyosaki that said, vocabulary won't make you rich, but a lack of vocabulary is worse than being broke because you'll never know how to get out that brokenness state of mind. And so what I want to do is share some vocabulary so that we're all on the same accord. Passive income for this presentation is just income being taxed at the lowest rate. You see, when they purchase something, it's being taxed at the lowest rate. Cash flow is money being deposited into your account and it's being spent from that very same account, preferably a business account, because we want you to know you have to create that circulation in order to create that cash flow. And residual income is the goal of every business owner, and that's money made with no effort, slow and for sure. This is what the rich thinkers are buying, ladies and gentlemen. And so I want you to think about the last thing you bought. Did it create a passive income that eventually created a cash flow, a residual income? And the great part about, and what I love about travel and this investment specifically, is that it does all three things for you. And so here's a question I love to pose: who can be rich? And I'm sure everyone in attendance can agree. If anybody, then why not you? Because when I pose this question, very few people put themselves in the rich category. And so this is what I truly believe is plaguing our country at this time. And it's a lack of financial literacy. You see, right now, consumerism is plaguing our country. This is impulsive spending. There's a statistic that says 3,000 marketing cues hit your eyes every time you wake up. And so if you're being marketed to an extreme rate, there's another statistic that says 80% of what you purchase is either unwanted or unneeded. And so I encourage you, or I challenge you to go into your bank statements. Look at what you bought last month and see, or look at what you buy this month and see if it's wanted or needed. And you may be in that statistic. And here's another one: indebtedness, borrowing too much. Right now, they will let you borrow money with zero job, zero proof of employment, but yet and still you can borrow money. And what we on here to understand and discuss this evening is excessive taxation. Ladies and gentlemen, you are paying taxes at a rate that you do not understand. And so I want to share with you with this question: what's the greatest expense that you'll incur in your entire lifetime? I want to think you to think about something that you spend money on. And as you can see, as I go across this country, whether it's New York to California, these are the three top questions, answers that I receive: your home, your children, and your education. And that could be true because your home is the one time expense or the largest expense that you'll spend in your entire lifetime. And we understand, if you're a parent, that the children are a never ending expense. And education, if the Department of Education is after you, you feel like they are terrorizing you. And so this is because these are real bills in your life, ladies and gentlemen. And bills are static factors. They don't really change. They come month after month. But what we want you to understand, that an expense and a bill are two separate things. Expenses do change. And what you don't understand about an expense is that taxes is the greatest expense that you'll incur in your entire lifetime as an American taxpaying citizen. You see, before you were born, taxes were being paid on you. When you breathe your first air, taxes were being paid on you. But did you know, ladies and gentlemen, when you die, you have to file taxes one more time? Even when you're dead, you owe taxes in this country. And so your goal as an American tax-paying citizen is to lower that liability and make sure that you can pass a legacy tax-free. And so I want you to think about this. I want you to think about how much it costs to be you. I mean, your lifestyle. Everybody's lifestyle is different. I want you to think about your housing, clothing, food, and transportation. Do you know all of those combined, that the taxes you pay exceed all of those? And I challenge you to test that data. That data is true and correct. Most Americans don't realize the taxes that they're paying. Taxes has been woven into every aspect of our society. No matter where you go, ladies and gentlemen, taxes have to be paid. I want you to see a list of the few taxes that you pay as an American citizen. And as you can see, this is about 23 or 24 on this list. But that local income tax in the middle is the main tax. And as you can see, everything that you buy no matter what it is a tax applied. So even for my retired individuals who don't feel like they paying taxes, every time you buy something, it's being taxed. And where do your tax dollars go, ladies and gentlemen? As you can see, several things you wouldn't mind your taxes going to, but 54% is going to what's being labeled as discretionary spending. But we can see it's military. But by law, we must collect tax. And so this is why I go around the country asking, and I pose this question to you this evening. What's your tax strategy? And when I ask that question, I want to pose it this way specifically. What do you do specifically to lower your tax liability? Because you're being taxed at a rate that you don't understand. And so what I want to teach you that there's two tax systems in this country, one for employees and one for business owners. And we understand that employee provides a living. But did you know, employees, that you can work on your fortune at the same time as a business owner? And so, as an employee, you're taxed up to 12 times, few deductions, you're limited to certain schedules. Earning actually hurts your tax bracket, and you're taxed on the income before you actually receive it. And most of the time, you're given a retirement date of 20 years. But as a business owner, you're taxed after business expenses. There's over 500 deductions you qualify for. Earning is actually encouraged in your bracket. Earnings are offset by those expenses. And your success date, whatever you deem that to be, is when you retire. And so, if I was to ask you which is the best option, everyone would easily say the business owner. Well, explain to me why 80% of our country chose to be employees. Because you heard just like Rodney, go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. And so we want to change the narrative. We want to teach people there's nothing wrong with that. But as you create that one single stream of income, you can also create an additional stream of income as a business owner. And it would not only as an employee, your goal is to lower your tax liability. And business owners are looking for more deductions. And so this is why I truly believe the home-based business is the best tax strategy ever because it allows you to not only lower your tax liability, but it increases deductions at the same time. And so if you're an employee watching this presentation for the first time, this is a great investment for you because it's going to allow you to capture more of the money that they're taking from you in the name of business, not in the name of you. And so as we go through this, there's a statement or a philosophy that says people are a product of their environment. And as you can see, we're chiming in from all over the country this evening. No matter where you are this evening, I don't believe that you're a product of your environment. I truly believe that people are a product and a direct reflection of the information that they accept as truth. And see, you have to understand no matter where you are, you're receiving this information. And I truly believe you can make a better decision when you have more information. And so when we look at it, if you know in these 50 states, Alaska and Hawaii, ladies and gentlemen, tax law is the truth of this country. And so, especially when it pertains to income. And so, what I want to share with you and what I believe, if I can change your information, I truly believe I can change your life, at least financially. And that's my goal this evening. I want to show you some ways so you can keep more of your money no matter where you are in these 50 states. You see, anybody can earn, anybody can spend, but who keeps the most? That's the real winner. And I want to show everybody this evening how to keep more of your money. Who am I? My name is Rodney K. Lamb. 23 years I've been in the tax industry. 21 years I've been a tax pro, 22 now. And 18 years now I've been a firm owner. My education stemmed from a Bachelor of Science in Humanities and a minor in Business Management. But my tax credentials, I think, is most important. I have tax credentials pertaining from TaxWise University, SFS University. I'm a member of the National Association of Tax Professionals. I'm PTIN certified, meaning I can do your taxes for a profit. But I think it's most important that you know I'm the EFIN holder, meaning we own the firm, not just work for it. I've proud to say a few of my accolades is currently still I'm the number one reviewed tax pro. And I really thank my clients and proud of my clients for chiming in and giving their personal reviews. We've been able to grow this through 32 states in this country now. And so I'm very proud of that. Our goal is all 50. And so I've been able to join these two organizations, which allowed me to put designation behind my name. And so CTRS is a certified tax resolution specialist. I'm one person below a tax lawyer. And so if you have trouble with the IRS or receive letters, I'm the person you'll see in that case as well. And NFEI is just a national financial education instructor. I'm also a money coach and we teach money. And so I'm proud and overqualified to teach the information that we're going to share this evening. And so my most proud accolade is that we've had 0 years, 13 years plus, actually 17 now, with an A plus with the BBB, with zero financial complaints. And I'll share with you just what I share with them, ladies and gentlemen. Good news travels just as fast as bad news. And so we're just proud this evening that the good news has reached you. And so let's go into the definition or let's talk about what we're on this Zoom to discuss this evening. We're on the Zoom this evening to discuss business, particularly in the industry of travel. But let's define business. If I was to pick on everyone and say, what's your definition? Probably we would get over 400 different definitions of what business is. But I want to share with you mine and what it actually is. Activity of exchange with money or barter for goods or service. See, when you understand this, travel agents, you understand that there must be an activity of exchange. If there's no activity of exchange, there is no business being conducted. And this is where travel, better than any other industry, understands that your conversation is worth cash. It's so many ways for you to benefit in the travel industry than any other industry when it pertains to business, because that activity of exchange could easily be a conversation along with some information exchange. And so I encourage every travel agent to conduct business. Always remain in a business mode because this will keep you aligned with the law in the definition of business directly. And so you understand. Now, here's the problem. Many people have a business and have no plan, no direction. And this is why I particularly like MLM because it does give you direction. It does give you that. But the real solution is to put your plan together. And as we know, a business plan can consist of so much, and it's a lot of areas. And tonight, we're going to be specifically talking about the financial planning of a business plan. And when you look at it, we're going to go into what I like to call a special travel report. Because as you can see, as the numbers continue to climb on this Zoom, this is special. If you've ever seen this information, you know this is special tonight. And so I wanted to make sure this evening that we do something special for the people who are chiming in. And this evening, we want to talk about why travel, but not just why travel, but why travel as your business. Because you have to understand right now, you're just a tourist if you're not in the travel business. And we want to teach you how to transition from tourist to a travel agent. See, I want to make this decision and clear for you. If you're not in this business, I'm going to make it real simple for you why you should be in this business. If you're already in the act of traveling, then travel should be your business. It's just that simple, ladies and gentlemen. You're already doing it, but you're not getting paid for it. But more specifically, you're not getting any deduction for it. But if you could get both, that just makes sense. And so we just want to show you by law, travel in the laws and how it relates to the IRS on a trip that you may have already taken or that you might going to take. Do you know as a tourist, for the taxpayer on the call this evening, it's viewed as personal. It's not tax deductible, and you receive a receipt. And that's not tax deductible, ladies and gentlemen. So we tell everybody to make that trip memorable. But did you know if you were to get started in the travel industry and become a travel business owner, now that very same trip is viewed as business because that's not personal anymore. Your local travel, ladies and gentlemen, you don't realize how much local travel you do in your current city right now. And so all these related expenses, and this is why the IRS particularly does not like travel because it's so closely related to your personal lifestyle, it's hard to separate the two. And so we have to document so much more in the world of travel than anyone else. But it makes your entire life transition to a tax deduction. You're no longer a tourist. You're now a travel business owner and a travel agent. So that makes everything tax deductible. But this is what's better than all of it. You'll actually start receiving checks in the mail in addition to this. And so, for the very same trip that you were going to take, ladies and gentlemen, that just makes sense. That makes common sense. But more importantly, it makes business sense. And so, when you look at this, when we think about it, and what are travel expenses? And when you think about travel, you don't realize as a travel agent and not a tourist, so many things become tax deductible for you. And so, when you look at this, I want to define it for you. Travel expenses are expenses of getting to and from business destination. But this is the part most people don't realize. An expense of sustaining life while you're at the business designation. And this is where it becomes real exciting for the travel agent. Because one, of course, the cost of traveling to the destination by plane, bus, car, however you get there. And I encourage it to be overnight when it's a business trip. And so when you look at it, ship, yes, even ship, passports. Now, everyone has a passport, but how about you make that expense tax deductible for you? It just makes sense if you're going to have one, right? And as long as you have a business purpose, all hotel visits for travel agents are tax deductible. We have transportations, you have to commute there, renting. What about shipping? Even that's tax deductible. Your luggage, you must have necessary equipment, travel agents. So the cost of these baggage fees, if you would choose to ship them. But I tell everybody, how about you upgrade your equipment? And write it off in the name of business. Lodging, you have to look at the meals. We understand that. That's 100% deduction this year. Technology, your phone, the computer you're watching this on, the internet you use to watch this, your fax. All of these devices are needed in the name of business, not in the name of you. And ladies and gentlemen, we can teach you how to transition that just by continuing to do what you're already doing. We're just going to do it in the name of business. And this is the most missed deduction for travel agents. Tips. This is how you really influence where you go and the type of service you receive. But this is a great way to receive excellent service from a tip and write it off in the name of business. And so it just makes sense, travel agents, be aware and be informed on what is an expense so that you make sure that you're taking advantage of everything. Now, if you really want a deep dive, visit irs.gov. Go to the search box and put in publication 334. And then you're going to get a business deduction of everything that you qualify, over 72 pages of what you qualify as a business owner. And so visit page 38. And what I like about that the most is in my industry, there are no gray areas. You see, the IRS lets you know what you can do in publication 334. But what I like about specifically page 38, ladies and gentlemen, they tell you what you can't do. And so there are no gray areas. And this is why I love to present this information because none of this is Rodney's opinion. Everything that I'm sharing with you this evening is written in black and white. You either can or you can't. And most people don't share with you what you can do. And so this evening, I wanted to share with you what you can do. Let's talk about the tax laws in a few quotes. Very few people understand that my industry is actually law, just like the constitutional law and the criminal law. The tax law is actually law. And so here's a few quotes. A tax is a compulsory payment for which no specific benefit is received. This is what the U.S. Treasury thinks of a tax. Two words I want you to focus on, ladies and gentlemen: compulsory payment. Why are we using words like compulsory in the land of the free? And see, we want you to understand it's very expensive to be in this country. The truth is that we have such a limited budget, such limited manpower to enforce the income tax laws that collect the revenue, that the only way we can collect their taxes is to keep them afraid. And we understand that when they talk about keep them afraid, they're talking about me and you, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the former commissioner of the IRS. You see, the IRS actually performs fear tactic so that you will pay a tax. And they do that in the form of these deadlines. And so one of my favorite is that you get a raise every time you can legitimately avoid paying a tax on something. And this is from the CPA, Mr. George Brown. You see, this evening, I'm not here to tell you to evade taxes because tax evasion is illegal. But what I want you to understand, these laws were written 106 years ago, before anyone on this Zoom was even alive, but we just didn't know them. And so I want to share with you maybe a law that you didn't know because you may have not known that tax avoidance is not illegal. These laws have been written for you, travel agents, for you to avoid paying a tax. You may have not known them. And so I just want to share those with you this evening so that we can make sure. As you can see on here, you have what we consider everyday expenses. And as you look at these slips, and each yellow slip represents a deduction. And many people who are not travel agents are saying, that's my entire life. So what we want you to understand is this is just nine deductions for a travel agent because we happen to know that the tax law allows 491 more tax deductions than what you see on this screen. But as you look on this screen, you would think this is your entire life. And so we want you to understand we're going to teach you how to transition your entire life into a tax deduction legally by just making a business purchase. And it just makes sense. And so I want you to think about this. There are over 500 plus deductions that you qualify, and your duty is to unlock them all. And I say duty, not a request, not a suggestion. It's your duty to unlock them all as a travel agent. And so, what you have to look at, if you're a guest on the line this evening, did you know thinking about this business, you've already received your first tax deduction? And literally, the law allows that. Let me read the law to you so you can understand. The tax law allows you the deduction for a startup expense. Think it of as the money you spend while you're thinking about or investigating the business. This allows you to write off all of the things. Let me give you some expenses that you may consider are common startup expenses. Travel expenses to gain the knowledge, entertainment, training, costs incurred analyzing the market, purchasing books, automobile expenses, advertising. As you can see, while you'll start accruing these expenses, the expense does not count until you actually start the business. And this is why I encourage anybody who were thinking about this business to start this business today, because your tax deductions will allow you to start today. In fact, you may have not known, let me share another law with you, that anybody who starts today is allowed 180 days in pursuit of profit. What that means, if you start today, you're allowed to go back 6 months, ladies and gentlemen, and take all of those related business expenses. Maybe you went on a vacation or took a travel 6 months ago. This will allow you to write that off in the name of business and keep every dollar that's yours in the name of travel. And so I encourage you to get started today because the 180-day rule is really in your favor. It just makes sense. And that's what my goal is this evening, ladies and gentlemen, to teach you how to transition your everyday expenses and the tax deductible expenses legally. And I stress the word legally because none of this is Rodney's opinion. Everything that I'm sharing with you is written in black and white. And so going forward, if you talk to anyone and they tell you something about my industry, you just share with them. I talked to a tax specialist. I was in a presentation, and he said, if you share something, you should be able to show me. And if you can't show me, then it is not law. And if he tell you you can't do anything, please, ladies and gentlemen, tell them to show you. Because in my industry, there are no gray areas. You either can or you can't. And so I want to show you a few things that you can do this evening. Let's talk about a few myths. And the first myth I want to discuss is the red flag. What is a red flag? A red flag is a tax credit or tax deduction that bounces your return out the computer and invites an auditor. What I want you to understand is that only four instances that create a red flag. Expenses or credits not associated with your business, items of lavish or extravagant nature for personal or recreational use, large deductions out of line for the amount of income you're reporting, and abusive use of credits associated with your business. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not committed one of these four violations, you should not hear the red flag from your professional's mouth. Just like the IRS, I will let you know as a specialist, there's code for I don't understand your taxes anymore. You may have grown to a level of business taxes that your professional no longer understands. And so, just like the IRS, they'll use tax vocabulary, tax jargon to make you afraid and hope that you say, you know what, let's just leave it alone because I don't want to raise any red flags. But if you hear those words, ladies and gentlemen, that's just code for I don't know how to do your taxes anymore. And so I encourage you to get your information and go to somebody more qualified because we want you to understand these laws are in your favor. They're not against you. What is an audit? An audit is the IRS looking to prove that the information on the return is accurate, the deduction is legal, and that the income is honestly stated. By definition, that's not bad. And so, why are so many people afraid of an audit? Do you know the stigma has caused the IRS to no longer do audits? Now the procedure is called conducting examinations. Why the euphemism? They think that if you come to an examination or receive a letter about an examination, you may show up or respond. But if you hear the word audit, you're going to avoid them. But let's look at the statistics. Let's look at the data. If you happen to make under 25,000, there's only a 1.2% chance that you'll be audited. 2.5 for 25 to 100,000, 100,000 to 200,000, 4.7, and only 3.3% chance to be audited for 200,000 and up. So where are the audits? Where are the people getting in trouble for putting this travel business on their taxes? It's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. And we wanted to share the data as proof. And so what I've concluded that audit is not a bad thing unless you're lying. You see, we want you to understand if you're not lying, then what are you afraid of? You see, if you spent gas to fill up your car this year, then we're going to really write that off, travel agents, because that's not your car, that's a company vehicle. And so we're going to make sure you get that tax deduction. You're not lying about that. And you have documented proof in your bank statements. And so we're going to make sure that you have that. Here's another one, fact or fiction. After 3 to 5 years of taking a consecutive business loss, the IRS is going to audit you. Fiction. We want you to understand that you have literally by law 22 calendar years to record a business loss. And so we teach travel agents that you can incur a loss. Actually, most businesses lose the first 3 to 5 years. So you're right in line with the rest of the country, if that's the case. But no one that I've ever known goes into business to lose. And so I want travel agents to understand that the law is actually on your side. But when you go into business, structure determines that liability. And so, what is your structure? Some people go in the sole proprietor and you just have a federal. If you're in a state tax, you have a state tax liability. If you have products for another type business, you have to look at the comptroller. If you're LLC or above, you have a franchise tax. And if you have employees, you have payroll tax. So some people could file one times and some people can end up filing 9 times. It just depends on what your structure is. And so we want you to understand structure determines your liability as a business owner. And so when you look at this, the IRS has two rules, ladies and gentlemen. It's simple: spend it or give it to them. And so when I was to ask you this question in person, you would simply say, Rodney, I'm going to spend it. I'm not going to give it to them. But when you spend it, I want you to understand you have to spend it in the name of business, not in the name of you. And so, what you may have not known is that 80% of Congress owns a home based business. They actually write law for themselves. But did you know if you own a home based business, then they write law for you as well? And so, here's the law according to Congress, not Rodney. Any taxpayer who runs a legitimate home based business, whether part time, full time, or spare time, and I stress spare time because we all understand and know there's someone who's going to say they don't have time for your business. And so you can let them individuals know, according to the law, according to Congress, you are perfect for this business. Because even in your spare time, you only need to meet two requirements, ladies and gentlemen. And this is actual law. Run the business on a regular and consistent basis. That's 10 hours a week to qualify. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen? There's 168 hours in a week. I'm sure everyone on this Zoom can pick 10 hours out of that 168 hours to make sure that their business is making a profit or attempting to qualify. And the second one is run the business with the intent to make a profit. In my 20 plus years of being a tax specialist and professional, I've yet to meet a business owner who didn't intend to make a profit. And so this is a great way, but in my industry, intent has to leave your mind. You can't just leave it in your mind. It has to translate to proof and documentation. And in English, ladies and gentlemen, that's just a business plan. And so we encourage you, and the law makes it so simple, which is why I concluded that home based business is the best tax strategy ever. And the law shows you and proves it. And so this is why I encourage everyone, especially in the particular in the world of travel, because it unlocks every tax deduction in the industry. And so when you look at that, let's talk about deductions and credits. What is the difference? You see, what is a deduction? A deduction is an expense associated with your business that qualifies for a deduction. What that means is truckers and travel agents have similar deductions, but they are not the same. Every business receives deductions based on their business code. And so, why I like the travel industry specifically is because it unlocks every deduction in the business code. And so, let me give you an example. If you earn 40,000 for the year and you're in the 15% bracket, that means you roughly owe the IRS $6,000. A simple $1,000 deduction could simply easily be the gas that you paid for already for your company vehicle. Let's say you spend 1,000. What they're going to do is take that 1,000 from your AGI, as you see, giving you a new AGI of 39,000. They're going to multiply it by your current bracket, and as you can see, your tax liability went down for $1,000 that you already paid for the fuel. But what if we use $20,000 instead of 1,000? Do you know that would completely wipe that $6,000 debt out? But what if you're already receiving a refund? Rodney, I get about 6 or 7 thousand. Would it be okay to receive a $15,000 refund legally? Because if you don't owe, then we can easily add that 6,000 on top of what you're already receiving, all because you kept good records. And that's deductions. Let's talk about credits. What are credits? Credits are tax breaks meant to stimulate the economy. What that means is they go and they come every year, ladies and gentlemen, and usually after the fiscal cliff. So we're about to see the new credits. And so let's say you're a $40,000 earner, 15% bracket, you owe 6,000 and you receive $1,000 credit. Let's say it's the energy efficient credit and you have four light bulbs and those energy efficient light bulbs and they only cost $26. Now you receive $1,000 credit because the business portion of your home, you went energy efficient and went green. And now they're going to take that directly from your liability. And as you can see, instead of owing 6,000, now you owe 5,000. And this is how professionals and specialists use credits and deductions to lower a tax liability. But now you understand and can see how I can, if you're receiving a refund, also take those same deductions and credits and put thousands of dollars on top of your refund legally, ladies and gentlemen. We want you to understand that's your money. You cannot leave money on the table that's yours. You see, tax credits clearly are more valuable, but these deductions are written in stone. You see, my job is to teach you to revolve your everyday life around these deductions while you and I find credits that fit you every year. You see, tankless water heaters, a lot of these energy efficient, a lot of the EV product vehicles. And so we want you to understand these deductions are actual business expenses and the cost of running your business, and they remain the same year to year. And so it's hundreds of deductions while it's only a few credits. And so that's why the power is to use both in your favor. What if you own your home? You thinking about, well, I write it off on the Schedule A. I itemize it. Well, itemizing is like receiving 3% of your money, ladies and gentlemen, while a Schedule C business deduction is like receiving 60% of your deduction. Which is best? Why not both? See, we want you to understand it's like paying Chase 24,000 and receiving a 48,000 deduction because we want you to understand the business portion of your home also qualifies as a Schedule C on your 8829. And so we're going to teach you travel agents if you own your home, you don't get a rent deduction. You get a double deduction for your mortgage injuries. And so it just makes sense if you own your home alone just to turn your home into a place of business because it no longer becomes your home. I like to teach my clients and I share with everybody it's now corporate headquarters. And we're going to write that off in the name of business. What about meals and entertainments? Do you understand travel agents? Your job description specifically is to get the experience and refer it to others. And so we want you to understand it's your job to go taste the meals, taste the drinks, go to the places, do the excursions all over the world. Because as a travel agent, you have to understand the world is your market. So anywhere you go in the world is tax deductible in the name of business. That just makes sense. And since 2018, as you can see, we're receiving 100% tax deduction for meals. Meals that's a part of the meeting you're attending, food for open house, holiday parties. One of my favorite is meal as a part of a training or marketing presentation. So if some of you travel agents invited a few people over and shared some refreshments, we're going to write those off in the name of business, right? And because that's not yours, it belongs to the company. And so it just makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what is a timely record? Because the IRS is saying that you must maintain a log weekly, travel agents. This must account, and that creates a timely record. And so let me give you an example. If you book a meal, a location, or a place, record that in your log. And then the next thing you want to do is meet your client, your prospect, your partner, and establish that business purpose, whatever it may be. And then, of course, discuss business. But we understand the 24-hour rule. So enjoy your meal, then discuss business and log everything. And what you have done, travel agents, and if you're not creating a log, at minimum, write on the receipt because handwritten notes on the receipt assist the business purpose. Say, great meeting. Say, this was a good conversation, potential partner, potential client. And so, what we want you to do, once you do that, you've just created 100% meal deduction. And so, how often do you go out and check the environment for new restaurants? Or, like I like to tell every travel agent, get the experience so you can refer it to others. But this is the legal way to document and receive 100% meal deduction. It just makes sense. Now, here's the biggest question everyone asks, Rodney. Do I need receipts, Rodney, or are bank statements enough? Well, what I want you to briefly understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that with the receipt, you're going to see the amount. It shows details, the items purchased, the date, it shows the time and the details, and it shows the place. It has all the essential characteristics. And this is why the IRS does require a receipt. But with bank statements, there are no proof of purchase. They only show you paid something, but what not specifically what you paid. It doesn't show any business purpose, neither does a receipt. And sometimes on a bank statement, it doesn't show the location. It only says a company name, not which location of that company if they have multiple. And so a lot of travel agents ask me which is best. And so this is why a log will help you if you have a receipt and bank statements to bring a full understanding for the IRS on what your business purpose is. And so a tax diary is the solution. And so we want you to understand this tax diary system will identify to the IRS or anybody and capture all four elements that the IRS require. And so when you look at that, look at the system. We want people to understand this is the type of structure that the IRS wants to see from travel agents these days. They want us to go dinosaur so we can prove that this is not personal, this is business. And we want people to understand if you don't have a system, mimic this system. I want you to understand this system is available and we will make this available to everybody watching this evening. But this is the type of system that the IRS is requiring for travel agents so we can make sure that you separate from your personal life. You see, there's a few to-dos that they require. Your meals and entertainment in the realm of business should create a way for you to do one of three things: generate business, create goodwill, and thank employees for a job well done. And with the right structure and entity structure, we want you to understand you're going to be your first employee, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't think it's a problem for you to thank yourself for a job well done, except for we want to send you to an exotic location so you can write that off in the name of business. You see, two tests they want you to pass. The directly related test is show the main purpose of the expense was the active conduct of business. And one, that's the nature of business transacted. And two, the reason for conducting business. In English, ladies and gentlemen, that's just a sign-in sheet. So I encourage every travel agent to keep a sign-in sheet handy because this will allow you to take advantage of any time you have two or more individuals. We want to turn that to a business meeting. And so the associated test, showing the conduct is associated with your business. This is show that you held a business discussion to get income or other business benefit. And this is where I take the most pride in because this is law, travel agents. I want to teach you that it must be held in the same day. That's a 24-hour period. So you can enjoy yourself and discuss business later. But if you look at this, this is where I teach you. It's a great expense for the spouse. You see, a lot of times it's his business or it's her business. It's not our business. So this is a great way once the business takes off and you start making Michael Broner money, and so start making some of the big director money. And when you start making that type of income, now the spouse's expense it becomes I want to go with you. Because if we know Plan Air and teletravel like to have conventions at exotic locations, you can't go to Vegas by yourself. And so now it's our business when the income start flowing. And that's not a problem. Take these business cards, look alive, and we're going to write you off. Because if you can show the purpose for the spouse was clearly business, even the spouse costs are tax free, ladies and gentlemen. There's no reason for you not to join or work this business. You see, we want you to understand. I circled it in red so people can see. I want to teach you that your conversation is worth cash as a travel agent because all you have to do is host a business discussion to get business benefit. And that's not difficult for anyone right now so you can transition a tax deduction in the name of business. And so let's look at what operational expenses are for the travel agent when some people consider these everyday ordinary expenses. You see, I understand that businesses are allowed 5 uniforms per quarter. I want you to understand it's 4 quarters in a year, ladies and gentlemen. That's 20 outfits and 20 pair of shoes that you as a travel agent has to designate as your business uniform. And so I encourage you to go through your closet, pick your most expensive clothes and shoes, and designate that as your travel uniform. But we do understand as travel agents, you'll need sunglasses, swimming trunks, flip-flops. We have all types of environments that we are in as travel agents. We need suits, different type of presentation material, award receiving material and outfits and uniforms. And so we want you to understand. Go out and get these things in the name of business, not in the name of you. Whose computer or cell phone is that you're watching this presentation on? Yours or the businesses? We're going to write that off in the name of business. But what I want to teach you is that me and the IRS understand that most of you have these accounts set up under your social security number. But did you know, travel agents, you can make a free phone call to your carrier and provide them a free EIN number. And now we can write off 100% of your cell phone bill in the name of business, not in the name of you. And it's no extra cost to you. They're going to let you upgrade to a business account once you provide them the proper information. And I just said that's a free phone call and a free EIN. And so if you just provide that free strategy, you can now write 100% of your cell phone bill off in the name of business, not in the name of you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to look good for your company. It's the only way you can market it. And so I want you to understand the haircuts, the hair salon, the nails, wellness, these things are tax deductible for you as travel agents. We call them business image maintenance. And so you definitely want to make sure that you're taking advantage of this. You're writing these things off. And we understand entertainment directly is our business. No, when you look in the law, it is illegal to write off entertainment expenses as a personal expense. I agree. But as a travel agent, it is not illegal. Do you understand? It is your job to tell me what is the best steakhouse in your state. And so, in order to do that, you have to go to every steakhouse, correct? And so, I encourage you to record, document, and log as you go out and do these inspections, as you go out and explore these different areas as a travel agent. Do your job. We understand if you just do your job description, you'll be able to write off more of your life than you understand. You see, what's coming up, ladies and gentlemen? Christmas. We know everybody gives away, but what do the rich do? They get very philanthropic around the holidays, right? Well, we want you to understand that's more of a tax strategy than it is philanthropy. And so, did you know you can do the same thing as a business owner? How about you take your name off that gift and you put the business card on that gift? And now it not only becomes a business gift because we understand a business gift only gives you $25 in tax deductions. But did you know a marketing and promotional items get you 100% tax deduction? You see, you think Oprah just gets $25 when she gives away a house or an iPad? We want you to understand, take your name off, put your business on the gift, and now we're going to write that off in the name of business. And when we go out to eat, ladies and gentlemen, who is the one person we know we can talk to every time? The waiter. And so, but what I want you to do as we opened up is have some information for exchange. You see, this is why business cards, the digital cards are handy because you want to exchange your information, but more importantly, you want to receive that in the individual's information. What's the worst thing could happen? They become a customer or a partner. And so, great opportunities for you to receive all these great tax deductions, all while you work in your business. It just makes sense. And so, if you never had a 15-letter word in your vocabulary, I want to share that with you this evening, and that's contemporaneous. And so, what's happening with travel agents specifically is that the IRS is using this word against us. And what that means is that your support records must be created and documented at the time you claim the deduction. And this is why I stress that the log is so important because they're saying you can't come later and document what you already did. And so when you understand that a receipt is necessary and proof of purchase is necessary, but that log would really save you in this instance. There are four elements that you must prove with the IRS to satisfy this test. The first one is time. The second one is amount. The third one is place. And most importantly, the business purpose. And this is the reason for your travel or nature of business benefit derived or expected to be derived. But for this evening, I wanted to do a deep dive because my specialty is audit representation. And for audits, they're going to use the real test, travel agents. And when the courts decides business purposes, they consider facts and circumstances. And so there are five things to pass the real test. And the first one is profit motive. You need to have a reason why the trip will help your business make money. You don't want to show immediate profit. You don't have to show immediate profit, but it has to be expected to create a profit. You want to stay overnight if you can. The overnight rule will make it, and it's away from your tax home. You want to apply for the for only test. You see, as an individual, it's personal. But again, what's the business reason? This is why we want you to transition from tourist to travel agent so you can pass the for only test. The primary purpose test. For travel in the United States, you need to pass the primary purpose test. The easy way to do this is to make majority of your travel a business day. And a business day, ladies and gentlemen, it's just 4 hours and 1 minute. So you'll understand. And so maintain good records. This may be the most important step for your business deductions, especially travel, because so much of your personal life is close to your business. And so we want to make sure you have the right records. And so the real test is the way to audit proof your travel. And so when you look at this, I want to share with you some great business gift facts. And so when you look at this, these are the five things you want to make sure that you record if you give a business gift. It must be documented. The cost, the date, the description, the purpose. That's important, ladies and gentlemen, and the business relationship. Because we don't want you to think you just give a gift, put your card on there, and that's it. Documentation is key. And so one of the business purpose example is to maintain a collegiate relationship for future business consulting and ideas. Another business purpose you could use is to stimulate referrals and maintain referral relationships. These are great reasons to give a gift. And so we want to make sure to maintain customer relationship for future business and to move the customer toward the ideal of referrals. Travel agents, these are great business purposes for you to give those promotional and marketing items this upcoming, well, actually, should we say next week? And so, how do you make your personal home your place of business? The law says you must carry a bona fide business. By bona fide, they mean the business part of your home must be exclusive, regular, and for your trade or business. It must be one of the following: your principal place of business. Check. A place where you meet and deal with customers in the normal course of business. Check. And a conceptual structure you use in connection with your trade or business. In English, this just means the biggest room in your home. You see, as travel agents or home based business owners, you're going to receive tax advantages based on the square footage. So, why would we pick the smallest room when we can pick the biggest room, which is usually the living room? And most people have so many deductions in your living room that you may not understand. For instance, you have a couch, we call that business furniture. You have a TV, we call that a business monitor. You have plants, we call that business decor. It's so many things we're going to write off that you've already paid for, ladies and gentlemen. And so we can really teach you all of these things are legally allowable to you as a home based business owner. As you can see, so many things become tax deductible that you're already paying. Even your cleaning supplies become tax deductible. And so we want you to understand this is a great investment. One of the most missed deduction is mileage. As you can see, literally people are driving by thousands of dollars every day because they forget the document. I want you to remember this acronym, MAPS. MAPS is an acronym that I created to give people and business owners an opportunity to have a purpose for every mile driven. Because we want you to understand when you drive, you have to have a business purpose. And so the business purposes you want to select are marketing, advertising, prospecting, and sales. Because most of the digital marketing apps, I mean, mileage tracking apps, they're going to ask you at the end when you hit start, it's going to start tracking. Then it's going to hit stop when you stop, and it's going to ask, what is the business purpose? Going to the store? No, I'm going marketing, advertising, prospecting, or sales. Going to church? No, I'm going marketing, advertising, prospecting, or sales. And please know, when you're doing maps, every time you leave home, it could potentially be for business, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the point why I share with you, make every time you leave home for a business, share your business. Again, what's the worst thing could happen? You get a customer or a partner. And so please know when you're doing maps, it's going to cost money. This is where you spend and incur all of those operating expenses. But the only way to make money, ladies and gentlemen, is to be selling. Please understand sales leads to profits, not map. Sales leads to profit. So always remain in the selling mode. This is a great way for you to rack up deductions. One of my favorite deductions, if you have children, is to hire those kids. And see, one of the great part about it is they don't remain your child anymore. They become contractors now. And see, we're going to write them off in the name of business. You see, ages 7 through 17 receive up to a $12,950 tax deduction per child. You see, a mother of four, you can easily share with her that if she was to join your business, she could easily qualify for a $48,000 deduction. It makes your travel business seem that much more attractive when you know the law that can assist this individual. And so we just want you to understand what the law requires. A W-9 on file for the child, a free download, provide 1099, less than $10 for those, and create a contracted services performed. I tell every parent, you want to write down their chores, erase the word chores, and put job description. You see, as a parent, you already have to pay for the uniforms, you pay for the meals, and you pay for the lessons and activities. But I literally pay my daughter first, and she buy her own uniforms. I pay my daughter, and she pay for her own meals and activities. And so you literally are teaching financial responsibility at an early age and keeping more of the money that you have to spend anyway. So if you're a parent, it's a great deduction. But if you're not a parent, one thing for certain, you know someone who is. So it's a great marketing tool and icebreaker for you to get them introduced into your business. Now, one thing I love to stress is that commingling is breaking the tax law, and you may be guilty without even knowing it. And commingling is using your personal account for business purpose. And so the easiest way to avoid commingling and what I tell people to prevent this is simple. You want to make sure that you're doing four things. Purchase the business, get the DBA for the business, get an EIN for the business, and open up your business account. This will make you safe, ladies and gentlemen. You won't have anything to worry about as far as commingling. Now, here's the Trinity, because a lot of people say, now, what do I do? You want to go to your county courthouse, wherever they do marriage license certificates, and register your business. Then you want to go on irs.gov, put EIN in the search box, and start that application and get that free EIN. And then you want to take those two pieces of paper and go to the bank. They will require those two and open up that bank account. And this will, ladies and gentlemen, prevent you from commingling. And so I suggest this to all business owners so that you can make sure that you're spending in the name of business, not in the name of you. Now, for those earners on this line who are earning in the name of business, it's only one way I suggest you should move your money. And when you start earning business income, you want to make sure you take it to the bank. And when you do that, preferably a business account. And we understand rule number one is pay self, and rule number two is pay the taxes on that money. And Rodney has an extra rule. We pay debt before we pay bills because debt affects your financial future and bills don't. And then once we pay our taxes, if you don't have taxes come out immediately, then set up a free federal deposit account where every quarter you can send them something on a good windfall. And that then only leaves us business expenses. And we understand this evening that we're going to be rich thinkers. So we're purchasing assets, not liabilities, because we understand those can be counted as liquid money. And those investment profits, those are transition into savings or surplus. And we just put that back in the bank. And then the only thing left, ladies and gentlemen, is liabilities. And as travel agents and business owners, home-based business owners, we don't have liabilities. We transition those into tax deductions. and write everything off in the name of business. And if you're earning money, this is what I suggest you flow your cash. And so when you look at this, ladies and gentlemen, it is so important that your monthly activity separates your personal from your business because everybody isn't making money. And so I did this slide for you because you have to understand your monthly activity. It represents your business when you aren't earning income. And so a few things I want you to keep up with, even though you're not earning income. And that's your business purpose, your reason, your calendar. You want to make sure that you're storing this, your time spent on business. And you definitely want to make sure you're keeping that weekly log so you can have these records. Because what you don't understand and you need to know that keeping a log proves business activity when no profits are being recorded. And so don't think that I didn't earn any money, so I can't claim my business. And definitely don't let a tax professional tell you that. But I do want you to understand if you do happen to not pay your monthly activity, you could lose an entire month of tax deductions. And so I encourage everybody to make sure you keep your travel agencies active because this will allow you to keep all of your monthly tax deductions in the name of business, not in the name of you. And so usually at this point in the presentation, people say, I didn't get those, Rodney, or the tax pro said I couldn't, or I just didn't know. Well, what I want you to understand, you didn't lose everything, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing is going to blow up because we want you to understand the law is in your favor. You actually have 3 years to fix this after your file date. And so if this is your situation, make sure you contact me so we can make sure that we get you the right information so we can get everything that's yours. Because you have to realize that's your money. The IRS is not going to tell you that we owe you some money. And so don't leave your money on the table. Go get your money. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard anything, please remember this. Documentation beats conversation every time. They don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to see the proof. And so we want you to have the documentation so you can have the proof. If you're an investor on this line and you like statistics and data, I want to give you some considerations. You see, when you look at the opportunity cost of this travel investment, the time horizon, the investment goals, the risk tolerance, and the inflation rates, travel covers all considerations, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing to worry about when it comes to this investment. This is a sure deal investment. And again, 180 days in pursuit of profit, this is a way to capture all your money. So I encourage everybody, do yourself a favor. Give yourself the gift of business this year. You see, give someone else the gift of business this year. Teach them that this 180-day rule is real and write that off in the name of business. It just makes sense. And so, but what I want to talk to you about is value because that's what it does for you tax wise. But what would the investment do and how does it value for you? You see, value is what a product or service does for you, the individual. But I want to show you how a home-based business turns any price into a tax deduction. You see, I want to show you how a home-based business turns any cost because we know price and cost are two different things. Even your cost, the cost of operating this business going forward is a tax deduction. Home-based business turns time that you invest into this business into a tax deduction. The home-based business turns everyday expenses into tax deductions. And one of my favorite is the home-based business turns your taxes into a tax deduction because you're not filing your taxes anymore. Now the business is filing. And so if you're on here and you're not a home-based business, I want you to understand this home-based business is valued to you. And this is real value, ladies and gentlemen. And so I want to leave you with 11 strategies to audit proof your home office. And when you look at this, I want you to know proof of admin use, regular use, and exclusive use is important. So definitely do that. Don't rent the area that you're going to designate as business. Earn income. We strive for that 1099, at least $600 in earnings. Classify repairs properly if you do any repairs to your corporate location. You want to be able to prove expenses, depreciate your company equipment correctly. Understand landscaping is a real tax deduction, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have a phone, get a phone bill for a home. This will prove that your corporate headquarters is corporate headquarters, preferably in the business name. And last but not least, document everything. You see, documentation is key. They don't want to talk to me. Don't want to talk to you. They just want to see the proof. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you for your time and attention. If you visit our website, truthinduced.biz, definitely make sure we have tax tips. We have so much information for you to grow and understand this industry for free. And so give me a call. Some people like to talk about it. And so give me a call. If you're an email and you like to type it, talk me. I'll respond. And we definitely, if you're social media, you can go on Facebook. I have almost 15 years worth of tax knowledge there. And Instagram, if you're there, definitely add us at Truth Induced. And so, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you for your time and attention. Thank you for taking time out your evening to grow, to make your business better, to grow as a travel agent. And so, what I wanted to do special this evening is give you an opportunity, if you didn't take notes, to get all of this in writing plus more. And so we call this the special travel report. If you visit truthinduced.biz, go to the special report tab and click the buy button, you'll immediately have access to everything you just saw in black and white with the references plus more. And so we wanted to give you an opportunity to put this in writing, be able to show people what they can do in your industry. And it's specifically to the travel agents. And so we wanted to give you an opportunity because this is a special evening. This is a special presentation. So we wanted to make sure we do something special. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you to my IntelliTravel and Planet reps. Man, it almost get me emotional on how y'all been pouring in and really supporting everything that we do with the nonprofit. For those who don't know, we also have a nonprofit called LAM. It's Learning Applied Money Basics. This is where we teach the youth financial literacy. I truly believe that I'm going to change the future when it comes to finances in this country if we just start with the youth. If we can teach them rule number one, that spending is emotional, we can change some things. And there's other principles that we're going to be teaching. And I just want to say, I've been asking for a couple of weeks, and y'all have been pouring in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We will let you know. So if you on this call, if you on this Zoom, and you're looking for a last of the minute, end of the year tax deduction, charity is one of the best deductions at the end of the year, and you want to pay it forward, you want to make sure, and just so everybody know that has been putting in, we have already enrolled 2 students as a result of your donation. So thank you. Keep paying it forward. We appreciate your tax deductible donations. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to turn it back to Dr. Jessica Johnson. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. And I know at this time, if you can, it's a lot of people on the call, but if they have a question, you know, Rodney, I have an answer.
Awesome. Well, you are getting so much love in the chat this evening because, of course, this information was phenomenal and you did a phenomenal job as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you again. Well, we will take about 2 or 3 questions this evening. If you do have a question, please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. I do see a question in the chat as well. I believe that's the first one. So I will ask you this one. Do we have to use travel agent or can we use other names like travel CEO, etc.? And can we use multiple occupations on the tax returns? Rodney?
Actually, multiple ownership is allowed. I'm a multiple business owner myself. I would encourage anybody who has business ownership, multiple business owners, to add travel to their business portfolio. It's nothing better. You see, so many things right now. Am I a financial pro or am I a travel agent? You don't know unless I document it. And so this is why I encourage any business owner who has multiple business to add travel to your business portfolio because it allows you to capture everything. You don't necessarily have to have travel in your business name. Your name is your name. Your brand is your brand. But it's always good to brand in the industry. It allows your business name to kind of tie into the industry, and it looks better as if you were to ever be audited. Or as you'll see and you'll begin to know for marketing purposes. Most clients want a deal with a company who's kind of branded into the industry. So I would encourage you to brand your business name sort of to the industry so that you can attract more clients for business purposes in the future. Good question.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, I went ahead and put the website in the chat, you guys. Go ahead and click on www.truthinduced.biz. Rodney, if you would also um, share your contact information again. We're getting some questions about that. There was a question here about, okay, there we go. So that answers that. Deductions if you live in an apartment, is that feasible?
Yes, I want you to understand by law, by definition, a home-based business is an apartment, an RV, a boat. And so, and most people ask, what if you don't own it? As long as no one with the same last name is using that area, you can designate that area in a house that you don't own but rent as your corporate headquarters. And so, definitely apartments are tax deductible as corporate headquarters in the name of business as long as you're paying your rent. Document it as so, because that rent now becomes an operational expense for you as a travel business owner. So that's not your rent. That rent belongs to the travel agency. So great question, apartment owner. It's a great way to transition something you're already paying into a business deduction, all because you made a decision. Great questions.
Awesome. Now we'll take the two hands that were raised. The first was Erica Koger, so if you could come off of mute.
Yes, I wanted to ask about virtual addresses. Instead of having my home address listed on I guess when I'm submitting for my LLC, having it listed or available to the public, what is your take on getting a virtual address?
It's a beautiful question because I share with everybody the most smart way to do because usually with virtual addresses or we'll consider that brick and mortar, you don't rack up as many expenses as you could at your home address. And so what I tell everybody, if you have a virtual address, then you're paying a virtual fee. You're just paying a rent fee, maybe electricity, maybe phone. And most of the time with virtual offices, they bundle that into one fee. And I would encourage you as a travel agent to take that in as just that, an expense. But at home, you have a water bill, you have a light bill, you have groceries, you have so many expenses that me as a tax professional can use in the name of business. And so that's why I would want you to keep that home location as corporate headquarters. And if you have a virtual location in addition, that would just be like a second location and we would use any expenses associated with that as just tax deductions. But that would not be your main location because we can't get as many expenses as we could if we just cut off your home. And so I would get both instead of just using one. Great question.
All right. We got a lot of questions, Rodney. If you're up for it, we can go until
I'm
maybe
up for it, Jessica. My energy is there.
got it. All right. So I'm gonna go back to the hand raised Kiana. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Owens. I'll ask you to unmute.
How many people are going to get that name right? That's okay. That's okay. Kijano Owens here in Moreno Valley, California. Sir, you spoke before on developing your entities with an EIN number, getting away from commingling funds. Do you suggest multiple EIN numbers for multiple businesses? How would you suggest going forward to that, setting up the bank accounts to also go with it?
It's a beautiful question, Mr. Owens, and the bank is going to require that actually. If you ever get audited for that reason, you'll understand that is a requirement. You cannot mix the travel money with your trucking money. Let's say you have a crypto money, you can't mix it. You can't mix your real estate money with your travel money. A lot of people think they can just bundle it all in one. You can't. Those are different industries. And so, what you want to do, if you have different industries, then you definitely want to make sure you have an account per industry. And what that will do is keep those expenses separate. And once you keep those expenses separate and then to open those business accounts, the bank is going to require you to have a DBA or higher and an EIN per business. And in order to get the EIN, because the next question you'll probably ask is, can you have multiple EINs? And the answer is yes. You'll just have to call the EIN company on the second EIN, because the first EIN you can go online for free. And then if you try to do it a second time, they'll kick you out the system saying you're already in there. So what you want to do is you're going to have to give them a phone call. And I'm warning you now, you're looking at an hour, hour and a half, but that's okay. This is for business. And so dedicate the time and set your expectations properly. But you're going to be able to go on there and get a second EIN, and you want to let them know for banking purposes. And this will let you know. And if you need to get a third, a fourth, or fifth, or sixth, you just want to let them know on each one for banking purposes. So, how many other businesses you have, you do have to have separate entity structure and separate EIN. And as you go and as your tax strategy increases, we can get into S Corp, we can get into different entity partnerships, LLC. We'll get into the different entity structures based on your plan. And so, first thing I encourage Mr. Owens is put your business plan together. And that's going to tell Rodney how you need to structure it. And so, definitely multiple business owners, separate business accounts, no commingling. Make sure you have all paperwork to match your story and document for each one separately. Great question, sir.
Thank you. And that may have answered some of the questions, but I'm going to go back to the chat. The question here is, if we have a W-2 job as well, do we need to separate the expenses even if we're always marketing?
Yes, that's a beautiful question. Now, well, I'm going to share something with the employees on this line this evening, and it's called, and I want you to write this down, owner's equity deposit. That is a $2,500 phrase for free. And I want you to understand that that's going to allow you to take at least up to 60% of your W-2 income and deposit it into the travel account for free, tax free. You see, you've already been taxed on his income as an employee. So what you want to do, let's say you earn $1,000, you want to take 600 of that and move it over to the travel account. Now I can start to pay my water bill, my light bill, and incur some of these expenses that Rodney said in the name of business as an employee. So that owner's equity deposit allows you to deposit already earned income that's been taxed into your business account tax free. And all you have to do when you make the transfer in the memo section, put owner's equity deposit. And so this is a great way to take that already W-2 income that you're earning and move it over. Now, you say you're always marketing, but me and the IRS would like to see that in writing because we don't want to hear your words. If you can't prove it in writing, then you're not always marketing because there are so many companies that they see, ladies and gentlemen, and they can prove, and we would see marketing. Like Truth Induced, for example, I have 71 different forms of marketing, and I use marketing software and marketing companies. And so if you don't have these expenses to match your statements, then the IRS won't believe that you're marketing all the time. And so if you are marketing all the time, make sure you're documenting all the time. And so this is way we can keep and make sure that you're getting that deduction in the name of business, not in the name of you. And all of those marketing expenses should come from a business account, not a personal account. And so this is how the IRS is going to look at it. And so we definitely want to make sure that you're taking that route. Great question.
Awesome, thank you. Well, we have about 2 more minutes, you guys. I'll do one more question from the chat, and then Laverta Richards will come to you from the chat. If one files an LLC this month, will we still be able to allocate this year's expenses as deductions?
Well, good question, because I want everybody to understand just because you change your entity or you change your name does not mean you were not in business. You don't get it by the day that you fill that paperwork out. See, everybody asks me, when do I need this paperwork, Rodney? You need that paperwork before you're audited. If you're not being audited, then it's not required. Because you heard the proper information to do doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you heard right, so you did right. But you may have been operating for 10 years. You just haven't got your paperwork. I've had clients who've been operating for 20 years and never got a simple DBA, never had a business account. And then finally got the paperwork to match their story. And so we want you to understand having that paperwork doesn't determine your tax deductions. What determines those tax deductions is proof. Do you have financial proof that you spent the money? As long as you can prove you spent the money, we're going to write that tax deduction off. All the advice of getting the proper paperwork and setting your account up and not commingling, this is just great advice from me so that you can get ahead and have everything proper and set up for the future. But if you've been not doing that all year long of 2024, that's not a problem. Doesn't mean you disqualify yourself for the deduction. It just means going forward, we want you to do it proper. You see, what you might have not known, and it gives me an opportunity to share, is that ignorance is an excuse for the tax law. See, what you didn't know is that all you have to say is, I didn't know till I met Rodney. And for most of the times, that's the truth. And so it's not hard to tell the truth, ladies and gentlemen. You just have to tell them you weren't aware that you were commingling. And that's going to give us an opportunity to go back and dip into your personal accounts, dip into your personal credit cards, and get all of these expenses that you spent in the name of business, but you just didn't know. Now, going forward, we're going to get everything established and we're going to be spending from that business account alone. So if you spend in 5 accounts, we're going to teach you how to spend in one in the name of business. So great question. And you allowed me to share some good tax law that'll benefit everybody. Good question.
Awesome. Thank you. So last question, Ms. Richards, if you would come off of mute and ask your question.
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for sharing this wealth of information. And um, I already have an EIN number and I already have a separate business account. Um, but I was told by someone else that I could do a doing business as and then still have it under um, the same EIN number. You're saying, so for instance, I have a company that deals with real estate and I did some short-term rentals, and that's how I initially got the EIN number. You're saying that I should get a separate EIN number and a separate account for the travel business and not do,
Correct.
okay, okay.
And you see, just the logic you saying in your mind, it just makes logical sense to you now, doesn't it? My real estate money doesn't mix with my travel money. They have nothing to do with each other.
Okay.
And the IRS sees it the same way. You have to realize on that real estate, if you're not doing it as a commercial aspect, it goes on a Schedule E. It doesn't go on a Schedule C. And so if your real estate is on a Schedule E, why is it mixed in with Schedule C expenses? And if you're a unprofessional professional, they don't even know how to explain it to you that way. But we want to give you some understanding so you understand your business is better. And sometimes it takes a good consultation. So I encourage you to give me a call so we can talk about your taxes specifically. Because as you can see, every tax situation is unique. Everybody doesn't have real estate in their portfolio. But if you do, it shouldn't mix with taxes or travel. And so separating those allows you as a business owner to not only track those, but grow those. We can start to expand those business separately once you can actually look at the numbers specifically. But if you merge them all into one pile, only pirates did that. And you know how they died until somebody plundered their money. And so we don't want you to put everything into one pile, and neither does the IRS. And so we teach business owners that individual that has shared that with you, they wouldn't be able to share that with you in black and white. And so that's where I separate myself from most individuals who share tax information. I'm able to tell you that mine is written in black and white what you should do, and they just telling you what they think. And so, but you can just feel it and know that real estate doesn't mix with travel. And so, yes, ma'am, those should be separate. And that is a great question to end this conversation with this evening. And so I definitely want to thank you for that question. Did that answer everything for you?
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem.
Awesome. Well, again, Rodney and Truth Induced Financial, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. And to everyone who's on the line, thank you so much for being here as well. If you would go to the next slide again so that they can see the information for the special report as well as for um, the your foundation. I definitely want to make sure that everyone's able to get one last screenshot of that. And thank you to the directors who helped us host this event this evening, as well as, there we go. All right, you're up there. Guys, go ahead and take a screenshot of this as well if you have not done so. We're going to hold this up here for a couple of seconds, and then we're going to share.
One thing I wanted to share, Jessica, before you finish, is that with this special report for everybody that stayed on, I want to say thank you. So I'm giving the tax diary away for free with this special report. And so it's a great opportunity for every travel agent to get everything that they need documented. We're giving the tax diary away for free with the special report. And it's just $100. And so this is a great investment. This is not yours. This is belongs to your company. So this is a great way for you to rack up not only a tax deduction at the end of the year, but for you to pick up some great documentation to grow as a travel agent. So I want you to know anything you purchase from Rodney is 100% tax deductible as marketing and promotional items. And so great way for you to rack up a deduction. But one thing I wanted to add, Dr. Johnson, is that we're giving the tax diary away with your purchase this evening. And so definitely it is a must that you go on and get that and rack up your tax deduction.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. All right, you guys, you heard him here first. $100 for something that's going to be a game changer to yield you back thousands. So definitely go ahead and purchase that this evening. Don't crash the site, but definitely purchase that this evening. All right. And be sure to donate because this information that we're learning as adults, Mr. Lamb is educating the youth so that they get
And
ahead.
adults.
And
It's
adults.
teenage through adult. Yeah,
Oh,
we teaching
yes,
all of those. We teaching the uninformed to be informed.
that's it. Teaching the uninformed to be informed. So utilize that QR code and utilize that tax deductible donation opportunity as well. All right.
Dr.
Great one
Johnson,
for before the end of the year.
Yes, Director Benson.
Dr. Johnson, someone said in the chat, how will Mr. Lamb know that we were on the Zoom in order to be able to get that free item?
Oh, that free item will be available once you purchase. I made it available for anybody who purchased the special report. What the special report is, it's just like talking to me for 4 hours, ladies and gentlemen. I give a 4 hour consultation in black and white so you can watch it at your own pace. I put all of the definition, the information in there, as well as provide the references in the IRS code so you can be confident about what I'm sharing with you. And so once you make that purchase, it's going to automatically include that special gift. So you won't have to worry about it. Once you make the purchase, the gift will be available with the download as well. Great question. Thank you,
Thank you.
Director Benson.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. The recording will be sent out to the directors, you guys. So everyone asking about the recording, the link will be sent to the directors and dispersed throughout the groups. And so if you have a guest on the line, be sure to be on the lookout for that link so that you can share this information with them as well. All right. You
Dr.
guys,
Johnson, I just want to give a big thank you to the directors that got on. I don't
yes.
want anyone to feel like they not involved because I am so appreciative tonight for this. And I know it was because of these directors that this was possible, sharing this information with their teams, allowing their team members and leaders to get on. So I just want to give a big salute to the directors. Thank y'all. I don't want y'all to know that y'all were not forgotten in the appreciation.
Yes, thank you. You took the words out of my mouth, so I'm definitely gonna let you close out this Zoom with any last remarks that you would like to leave to the listeners.
Just want to say with the tax laws changing, ladies and gentlemen, today is December 18th. We're a week from Christmas and 2 weeks away from the end of the year. Here's an opportunity for you to gift yourself something that's going to allow you to make a less than $200 investment and yield back a year's worth of spending, at least 180 days worth of spending. That just makes sense. Now, after the business side, here's an opportunity for you, ladies and gentlemen, to create a second stream of income. And in today's economy and what's coming forward, you're going to need two streams of income. And so I love this opportunity because you not only get to capture and keep every dollar that you earn, but you also get to create another stream of income. And not only the invaluable aspect of creating all of the partners and friends that you're going to meet and the relationships and networks on the way. And so I'm extra proud this evening, and this has been extra special to see over 400 people on a Wednesday night, ladies and gentlemen. And so I'm over proud. I just want to say thank you for getting on this evening. Do not commit the sin of the desert, knowing where the water is and not sharing it with anybody. I tell everybody I didn't charge you $1 for this. You shouldn't charge anyone else to share it. So let's share this. Let's make sure 800 people on next time. And yes, before you ask, Dr. Johnson, no, it's not an answer. Let's make sure we do this before 11:59 on December 31st so we can make sure the people understand. All the way up to 11:59 December 31st, you can invest into this travel investment and receive 6 months of tax deductions. And so we have to do this one more time before the end of the year, Dr. Johnson. And so no is not an answer. Y'all just give me a date and a time, and let's make sure the people have the right information.
All right, y'all heard that here first too. Have a great evening, you guys. This ends our presentation. Thank you.